Hey guys, welcome back to Three Terrible Gamers podcast. This is episode 80 and I'm here with Colin.
Hey guys.
Alright, got a couple from last week. We'll go ahead and jump into it. Mass Effect 5 news.
So there's more news than what there was from last week, which is obviously a good thing.
Yeah.
Despite layoffs at EA and BioWare, Mass Effect 5 is still in development. With hints of returning races and potential storyline choices, fans may have to wait for Mass Effect 5 as BioWare prioritizes Dragon Age Dreadwolf, but the next installment is still in the works. Rumors speculate that it will not release on the PS5 or Xbox Series, but both the predecessors to those consoles. It is also rumored that it is going to be linear story base instead of a open world game.
Yeah. I've never actually played any of the Mass Effect games, so I don't really have anything to go off of. Have you played any of them?
No, only thing I remember hearing about them like growing up, because I believe the older titles are, I want to say like late 2000s when they released whatever. But I remember like with either Mass Effect 2 or 3, people talking about like how you could sleep with like aliens and robots on there. That's the only thing I really know about the series.
Nice.
It was basically a Baldur's Gate before Baldur's Gate was a thing, but it didn't show anything.
Right. Nice. All right. I wonder if it won Game of the Year.
Don't really feel like going live on that one.
All right. Moving on. Borderlands TV show.
Yeah, I guess it's been in the works for a while now, and I thought it was a TV show. That was my bad. I put it in the notes last week, but it's actually a movie. It's going to be like 2.5 hours long.
I think, wasn't Kevin Hart's in it?
Kevin Hart's in it. Jamie Lee Curtis, after she said she was retiring.
Yeah. So it's probably pretty funny if it has Kevin Hart in it. So.
Yeah, I mean, it's the whole entire game series itself is not really a joke in itself, but it's a funnier game series for being a shooter game.
Yeah. I played the first two. I think they were free with gold at one time, and I picked them up that way.
Yeah. I've never played the games. I've seen them been played. I've just never played them for myself.
They're fun.
I imagine so, especially, like I said, I've seen it be played, and I was like, oh, okay, that's pretty cool. But it's set to release on August 9th, 2024. And, you know, it's pretty much 2K taking a crack at the movie industry since, you know, everyone else is doing it. Sony's been doing it for the longest time, obviously.
Right, yeah.
You got Nintendo now. Now 2K is going to try it. And I believe they are partnering with Lionsgate with this project.
Yep. Yeah, I'll go ahead and just read what I have here. It's Borderlands, the first-person looter shooter RPG video game series, highly praised for its Mad Max style action and its vivid neon colored open world scheme, is getting, it says a movie on here. Yeah, you said a movie, not a show, right? Yeah. Okay. Never mind.
Just in notes last week, it was portrayed as a TV show.
Yeah, it is a movie. For those of you still confused, like I am, it is a movie. It says the film was announced to be taken up by Lionsgate and Arad Productions back in 2015. The popular Gearbox game has sold over 75 million copies, collecting net revenues of over $1 billion. Fans are excited to see the cult favorite video game franchise adapted for the big screen, and many are curious as to how production will be able to pull off the rare visual style. The hand-drawn textures and luminescent coloring make for out-of-this-world gameplay, and there are a few games like it, and from what it's been said about the film, the cinematic experience will be unequaled. Headed by an all-star cast and crew in front of and behind the camera, a prime summer release date, and an exciting trailer, here's everything we know about the Borderlands movie. So it just goes on, but basically, Borderlands is getting a movie. So I mean, it'll probably be a pretty entertaining movie and a comedy if I had to guess, or partly comedy, I guess. Let's
It'll
say
definitely be an R-rated movie as well because
Yeah.
the games are in for mature.
right.
If it gets tagged with PG-13, I'll be surprised.
I doubt it. All right, moving on to this week. March 3rd, the Nintendo Switch turned 7 years old.
Yeah, congratulations Nintendo for tying with the longest running game console of all time. Like we've been talking about for the longest time, that 7 years is long for a console, but in this topic, since it's pretty much just a birthday shout out to the system itself and not really anything mainline like new, yeah, obviously it's newsworthy. It's a big deal that it's 7 years old and it's still going strong,
Right.
still selling, with predecessor coming out by rumor now the beginning of next year, 2025. But I went ahead and done a little bit more research on it just to make it drag out a little bit longer. So the NES had a 5-year run. The SNES had a 6-year run. N64 had a 5-year run. GameCube had a 5-year run. The Wii had a 6-year run. The Wii U had a 5-year run, which honestly surprised me. I didn't think it was. It didn't seem like it was out that long.
No.
And then I just stayed in Japan on this one, so next is PlayStation. I didn't bother with Xbox because Xbox only has 3 releases at this point.
Right.
Well,
4 now.
Yeah. But your PS1 had a 5-year run, PS2 had a 6-year run, PS3 had a 7-year run, and PS4 also had a 7-year run before the next, consoles that came out. Like I said, that's just staying in Japan. That's not touching on Xbox. So, yeah. So, the Nintendo Switch turned 7, and unlike the PS4 and PS3, they're still going strong for a whole nother year. Because I say it'll probably be March of 2025, so it'll be 8 when the new one comes out.
Right.
At this point.
Yeah. So, yeah, basically, like you said, that's not really, like you said, it's not really news, but it is worth talking about and just worth thinking back. Like the article I have here is from Nintendo Life, and it says, "We struggle to remember a time that we thought of the Nintendo Switch as a new console." And then it just says that people are saying now that it's so old and it's easy to get on that bandwagon and just kind of be tired of the system and ready for the next one.
The Alice Misery.
Yeah. So, I mean, just thinking back, it feels like it's been a while, but at the same time, it's went by fast. So I can remember when you had one before I did, and you had Breath of the Wild for the Switch. I had it for the Wii U, and we would compare shrines and everything. You'd come over, or I'd come over, and we'd have like a competition who could finish a shrine faster, who could get to this part of the map faster, whatever. And so not only is the Switch 7 years old now, so is Breath of the Wild, and I think that's even harder to believe than the Switch. Because I know they came out the same day, but it just doesn't seem like Breath of the Wild should be that old, but it is.
Yeah, because I got mine, I think the month after it came out. I got mine in April.
Yeah.
March.
Yeah, I didn't get mine until Christmas later that year, so. Yep. Moving on then. Speaking of the Switch and next gen, new SD card technology could be set up for Nintendo's next system.
Yeah, in an unlikely pairing, Samsung's newly announced line of SD Express micro SD cards. These cards will launch with 256 gigabytes card later this year, to be followed by a 1 terabyte option. Offers 800 megabytes a second transfer speeds. Perhaps most interesting, Samsung lets slip in their press release that the card resulted from a successful collaboration with a customer to create custom products. So the fact that they are teaming up with Samsung is definitely different, especially since it's not a Japanese-based company, because that's usually what Nintendo does work with.
Right. And I mean, micro SD card technology is kind of crazy right now because they're coming out like SanDisk just came out with a 1.5 terabyte micro SD card, which is the biggest SD card you can come out, micro SD card that they have came out with so far. But just thinking like this little tiny thing can hold 1.5 terabytes. Like that's kind of ridiculous to think about. And we used to have floppy disks and USB drives and stuff like that. But it's just crazy to think about. And I'm not sure exactly how this would work. It's saying that they're going to team up with them and their internal storage will be a micro SD card. So, I mean, that's pretty cool and everything, but I don't know how, like, if it would have an internal just micro SD card slot, or if it'd be like actually soldered onto the motherboard like storage normally would in like a game console. I'm not exactly sure.
Which now with the SanDisk one, you can just pop it in and out, can't you?
You can, but it has internal storage too.
Yeah.
But this it's saying that this is going to be its internal storage, a micro SD card, instead of just like a expanded storage like with the current Switch.
Yeah.
So I'm not exactly sure how it'll work, if it'll have a slot like that on the inside. I would say it's probably going to be soldered to the motherboard for more security.
Yeah. I mean, regardless, they're definitely going to have to get something that is higher gigabyte storage than what the Switch had, just because how much bigger games have gotten in the past 7 years.
Yeah, definitely. I'd say, I mean, micro SD cards, they're cheap for one, and they have huge storage. So, I mean, if you go with I don't know the prices for Samsung micro SD cards. I haven't looked, but I use SanDisk mostly, so I'll just go off the price. And for them, like a 256 gigabyte micro SD card right now is only like $30. Like they're cheap.
Yeah.
And then 512s maybe $40.
So I remember in the 360 era when it was like 32 gigabytes would get you about $30 worth of memory from a USB drive.
Yeah, times have definitely changed with that. But
then your little GameCube inserts for your memory cards were about 16 megabytes.
So I heard somebody say it the other day. 1 gigabyte is about 1,000 GameCube memory cards.
Yeah, well, because 1 gigabyte is roughly 1,000 megabytes.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, I thought the typical GameCube card was a little bit bigger than that.
Well, the thing, they went by blocks, not necessarily megabytes, like right out. They didn't actually.
Well, the one that I had, like the little purple card that I had.
Yeah.
It specifically said 16 on it.
Megabytes.
Yeah, the Animal Crossing one that you gave me when you gave me Animal Crossing, it didn't really have anything, but I think it was a standard 4, which was what came with Nintendo.
Yeah.
But still, yeah, it's insane to think how many of those cards you would have needed regardless, because even if the 4 megabytes, you're staring right there at 250, you would need 250 of those cards to get 1 gigabyte.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
How many games? I'm pretty sure you could have saved the whole entire GameCube collection.
Oh, for sure.
1 gigabyte.
Yeah, that's crazy to think about it. We used to run out of storage all the time. Memory cards have to delete a file or move it over to another one just to save room. It was stupid, and how much storage has changed. And like I said, I think if they go with a 256 gigabyte micro SD card, that'd definitely be better than the 64 on the OLED Switch, or the 32 in the standard Switch, or 32. So
they're really anticipating getting Call of Duty, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, Microsoft said they were going to, so.
going to have something that big if you're able to get a game that size now.
Yeah. I'd say,
Which,
I mean, at least 256, like I said. Maybe 512, I doubt it. Hey guys, this episode is brought to you by our friends at Bucked Up.
Bucked Up is a company founded in 2016 by two brothers on a mission to provide consumers with the highest quality supplements and fitness products to help them achieve their health and fitness goals.
Bucked Up has a ton of products ranging from energy drinks and supplements to protein bars and pre-workout, all with crazy good flavors like Rocket Pop and Cotton Candy.
You won't find a better tasting boost without the crash anywhere else.
So head on over to buckedup.com and use the code 3TG to get 20% off your order. That's the number 3TG.
Get the job done and feel great with Bucked Up Energy. When you feel it, you just got bucked up.
So, but and then they'll probably have an external micro SD card slot for expanded storage like they do now too.
Yeah.
But pretty cool to think about using a micro SD card as an internal storage device on a console.
Definitely insane.
All right, Ghost of Tsushima PC port is coming.
Yeah, the flood of PlayStation exclusives coming to PC continues. This time, it's a director's cut of samurai drama Ghost of Tsushima, which is launching on PC on May 16th. This version of the game includes the main campaign as well as Iki Island expansion and multiplayer mode called Legends. So yeah, it's a game I had heard of whenever it first came out, and it's just one that went to the back of my memory. So whenever you sent this, I was like, this sounds familiar. Like, why does it sound so familiar? And I was like, oh, okay, it's because it's been out for a hot minute.
Yeah, I mean, I've never played it either, but I know it's pretty popular. So that's why I figured we'd cover it so people would know that the PC port is on its way here in a couple months.
Yeah, a couple months and about a week to the day.
Yeah.
Of recording.
Yep. All right. Last week we talked about ransomware group hacking Epic, and apparently they made the whole thing up. The group says that the Epic hack was fake.
Yeah. Ransomware, the group that recently claimed to hack the Epic Game stores for 190 gigabytes, admitted it was a hoax. Last week, the group, which goes by the name, now I gotta figure out how to pronounce this daggone Russian name, Bogolyvich, close enough, posted a message on the Darknet Leak site giving information on its claimed data breach of the Fortnite and Epic Game Store company. So yeah, he was just like, oh yeah, let's just cause some trouble with everybody, and obviously had us biting on the opportunity to cover it.
Right. I mean, it's definitely something that people need to know. So, but ignore everything from last week. You have nothing to worry about. So, I mean, if you change your password or whatever, I mean, it's good to change every once in a while anyway. I don't. I have the same password from like 15 years ago, but that's just because I don't want to forget it.
Oh, I can remember stuff.
Yeah. So yeah, just continue playing Fortnite and all your other Epic games without worrying of your email passwords or full name, payment information, or anything else getting leaked.
Or is that what ransomware wants you to think?
Oh yeah, maybe they're saying it was fake, but it's actually not. So that's how they're going to steal more stuff. I don't know. Epic said it was not true either, so I guess you can believe Epic. I don't know. All right. Nintendo settles their case against Yuzu.
Yeah. Action's a center over here emulating games. No, it's, as we've mentioned 1,000 times before, If the other companies do it, and then you just so happen to pull from that company and you own that title, it's completely legal. But the fact that Yuzu pretty much takes all Nintendo titles and then try to emulate them is a whole different story. But Yuzu will no longer be under active development after the team working on the project settled their lawsuit with Nintendo for $2.4 million. As part of the settlement, the Yuzu team will also be handing over all codes and assets related to the emulator to Nintendo. It also seems that Nintendo 3DS emulator Citra is going to shut down thanks to the particulars of this settlement as well.
Yeah, so they're going to pay them $2.4 million in damages, and they have to give up their source code and their website, so now Nintendo owns Yuzu. So here's where Yuzu messed up. They, like we said 100,000 times on here, emulators are not illegal. What's illegal is getting illegal versions of games offline that you don't own. So here's where Yuzu messed up. They done everything right, except for Nintendo does not like you making money off of their property. So Yuzu's a free app, but the early access to new versions was behind the paywall on Patreon. And they kept a track of how much they've made on their Patreon. So Nintendo's seen they're making money off of it, and then they're like, we're going to sue you for making money off of our property, technically. So that's where they messed up, first of all. Second is they didn't exactly hide that Tears of the Kingdom was playable before Tears of the Kingdom was released. We kind of figured it would be playable because Breath of the Wild was completely compatible with Yuzu, and they're almost the same game, run off the same engine. So, of course, Tears of the Kingdom was going to run, but Yuzu didn't really hide that it was playable. So that makes Nintendo think that they stole the ROM themselves and made the game compatible. They may have, but I'm thinking that they didn't. But either way, it's in the past now. Yuzu's shut down, which really sucks because I use Yuzu, but also use Ryujinx, which is another Nintendo Switch emulator that you guys can use since Yuzu is no longer up and running. But what's really the worst part about this is Citra also being shut down because they're made by the same developer. And Colin mentioned Citra. It's the only 3DS emulator out there. So with it being shut down, there's no other way to play 3DS games on your PC unless you buy, there's no other way to play them unless you buy an actual 3DS. And what really makes me upset at this is Nintendo's no longer supporting the 3DS, so they're not making games for it anymore. The Nintendo 3DS eShop is shut down, so you can't buy games from them digitally anymore. So Nintendo is not making money from the 3DS at all, nowhere. And they still managed to get this emulator. They wasn't suing them for Citra, but it just so happened they were developed by the same developer. So it sucks more that Citra's being shut down because we still have another Switch emulator that we can use that's good, but we don't have another 3DS. Panda 3DS is in development, but it's not out yet. It's been in development for years, but it just sucks.
It takes a little bit though, since Citra is getting shut down though, because they know they have, potential now since they'd be the only one to fight with, like Citra was.
Right, and now that Nintendo owns Yuzu, they have their source code and everything. We could see in the next couple of generations, because like the NES, SNES, N64, and everything on Nintendo Switch Online, that's ran from emulators. Nintendo's made emulators to run those games on their online service. So, sometime in the future, if they want to release some Switch games on their online service, they could use Yuzu's source because it's compatible with almost all Nintendo Switch games. They could use what they got from a case, from a fan-made emulator, and use it on their first-party system if they wanted to. But as you can tell, I was very upset that Yuzu lost this case, but I knew they would. Just, it's not even that they lost it, they just settled out of court. Yeah. So, alright, moving on. Baldur's Gate 3 will be a 4-disc Xbox release.
Yeah, I haven't heard of that concept in a hot minute.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a big game. So, Baldur's Gate 3 will on the Xbox version will release and physical edition. Obviously, the digital don't have to worry about the 4-part install.
Right.
But is headed to Xbox Series X soon. But it is going to be an adventure spread over 4-disc. Larian's director of publishing, Michael Dowse, confirmed online that the studio almost managed to squeeze the adventure into free disc, but at the end of the day, it was 500 megabytes over the free disc limit. Larian could have cut some content from the physical release, but decided instead to place it on a 4th disc, so, it's going to be 4-disc. And the last time I remember seeing something like this is Call of Duty Ghosts for the 360.
Xbox 360.
It was a 2-disc, and 2-disc for Metroid Prime on the GameCube.
But those were 2 different games, weren't they? Prime and Prime 2 Echoes.
But one was still, you had to have the other one to download the other one. I don't know how it worked. That's dumb. This may just be me misremembering something over 20 years ago. But, because I haven't tried to throw Metroid Prime in my GameCube recently, I promise.
Yeah.
But Call of Duty Ghosts, I do remember on the 360.
Oh, yeah. There was an install disc and then a play disc.
Because I had it from the normal Xbox One too, and the normal Xbox One was a solid single disc, and then the 360 version was a 2-disc download. Yeah. But yeah, you don't hear it too often in the gaming world, especially in modern times. Because that's been since 2013, so 11 years at this point.
Yeah.
I've seen another multi-disc release. But yeah, it's a big game. It took up every bit of almost 200 gigabytes on my PC, so I only imagine what the Xbox is going to do with it.
Yeah, because not only is it on those discs, you also have to install it download to the console in order to play it, because you have to do that with discs now. You can't just pop it in and play it like you used to be able to. So, yeah, it's going to be rough. You might have to delete half your collection on your Xbox to be able to play Baldur's Gate 3.
That depends. I mean, I guess it depends what size your hard drive is too.
I think they come with a 1 terabyte. I mean, you can get upgrade storage, but I mean 500. I don't know how big it is, but if it's on 4 discs, I don't know.
Like I said, I think the one I had downloaded on PC was every bit of almost 200. Yeah. So it would be at least half of a 500 gigabyte almost.
Yeah.
Or a third of it.
Big game. Alright, we can go ahead and touch up on this one. Get them out for you guys. Well, we might want to skip this one and get to the next one so it's relevant. Mario Day sales for Mario Day are coming.
Yeah, I believe all these sales run to the 17th, so it'll be a week from Mario Day, which, if you're listening to us live, it's technically already started. They started pre-releasing stuff like 2 days ago.
Yeah.
At time of recording, so like on the 7th, so it's basically like a 10-day sale, and Mario Day is March 10th. It just equals out to numbers, letters, spelling, and everything else.
Yeah.
But feature game sales are several Mario Switch games at a $20 discount, because obviously Switch is pretty much the only thing still selling games, as you mentioned, the 3DS eShop is shut down.
Yeah.
So this is pretty standard deal for Nintendo Switch games in 2024, but still notable because yet again on Mario Day they always release something, steep discounts every single year.
Right.
Any new Switch owners or those who have missed a couple titles over the past few years includes popular entries like Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, Luigi's Mansion, I believe the third one,
Yeah, the
Mario
third one.
Party Superstar, and more for $40 a piece.
Yep.
And then they done Lego sets, I believe are like 15% off at different stores online. Because even Amazon, GameStop got into it this year too with it. Especially the online. Like I said, I can't promise the same thing for physical visiting the store in person.
Right.
But you may sneak away with something if that's possible at GameStop.
Right. Yeah, so just real quick, I have a list of games. It's not all of them, but it's just some you might be interested in. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, $40. All these are $40. Mario Party Superstars, Mario Golf Super Rush, Mario Tennis Aces, Yoshi's Crafted World, Luigi's Mansion 3, Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games Tokyo, Mario plus Rabbids, and there's more, but that's all I have listed here. So yeah, go get some games for cheap if you haven't played those games yet. But that's all the time we have. We appreciate you for watching or listening. Remember, you can always watch us live on Twitch and YouTube. Join our Discord server. Follow us on all of our socials, or Twitch, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. We have pretty much all of them. Buy our merch on Redbubble. Appreciate Bucked Up for sponsoring today's episode. Colin, do you have anything?
I don't got nothing else.
All right. Thanks for listening. We'll catch you in the next episode.